Okay, ooh, I feel like I'm starting to sweat. This is such a workout. So, on this next one, definitely have a product again. So I've got to do first times derivative of the second plus second times derivative of the first. So let's see. Let's see what we have. Okay, right now this is being obstinate. You get the idea. That's a t. Okay, so g prime. I got to take the first, but the first piece is just x times derivative of the second, well, derivative of sine is cosine. Then I'm going to add the second, but the second is sine of x, times derivative of the first, but the derivative of this is just 1. So when I simplify, it will look like this. X cosine x plus sine x. Finished! Isn't it beautiful? Okay, I'm gonna make you do this one the hard way. Let's bust a sweat now! So this is a quotient, right? So I've got to do low high minus high low all over low squared. So low d high, remember I'm going to write it down again. Low high minus high d low all over low squared. Okay, so now the low is 8. This is y prime. So low d high. Now the derivative of the high, let's see, power down. So I would get 20x cubed. So there's d high minus the high, well, I don't change it. And then I got to do d low, but the derivative of the denominator, well, that's just 0 because it's a constant. All over low squared. So then when I simplify, the first thing is going to be 160x cubed minus, that's going to turn into 0. All over 64. And so let's see, 160 and 64 both divide down by 8. Let's see, I don't know, maybe something more. Definitely by 8. Oh, yep, gonna divide more. Divide by 4 and I'll get 5/2 x cubed. Okay, now, that should have been only obvious, and I would totally not have used a quotient rule on this. When I looked at it to start with, I would have said, hey, this is a single term. All this is really is y equals 5/8 x to the 4th. Ah, Torres, you tortured us. We can just power this puppy down. So y prime is going to be 4 times 5/8, so that's going to turn into 5/2. And power down, look at that. Torres, I hate you. I'm going to encourage you at any point in time on these next ones, on these next 8, if you feel so inclined, I suggest you try it, that you try some of these by yourself. And then you can pause and check and pause and check. So I'm going to pretend that you've already paused and tried this. And so in this first part, I see a product. And so I've got to do first times derivative of the second, but the second piece is this, and I know the derivative of that is cosine x, plus, and then I've got to do second, so sine of x, times derivative of the first, but derivative of the first will be 2x because I'm powering down. Okay, so far all I've done is just work on this very first term. So now I have to work on this second term, which is another product. I see that they're joined right there by multiplication. And so I'm going to do first times derivative of the second plus second times derivative of the first. Keep in mind this is the first, and so the derivative of that will just be 2 because I'm powering down. And then I'm going to simplify.